Season 3, Episode 6, which means it's number 36, Josh. We got a game called King of Dragons. Have you ever heard of King of Dragons before we play this,
not.
Josh?
I have not heard of King of Dragons.
I did not. What's the first thing you think about?
For me, personally, I thought of Dragon View a little bit. And
I was thinking of straight up Game of Thrones is what I was thinking.
see, no, I wasn't. I was thinking more of a Dragon View style game. And then the more I thought about it, I was sitting here thinking, I go, oh, well, yeah, there's some mythical stuff, so maybe some type of RPG.
I was also thinking of several puns like dragging these nuts across your face or dragging ass or something like that. So I would, but when you sit there and think about King of Dragons, I'm exactly thinking it's some sort of RPG, maybe type of gauntlet or something like that. Going to be a lot of slaying is what I think. So do you want me to read the back of the box for you, Josh?
Yeah.
King of Dragons. And just so you know, the G in dragons is like a dragon tail.
Oh, nice.
And the cover looks pretty badass. I'm flipping it around. It shows this gnarly looking dragon, and you got like the freaking, I don't know, I guess that's the cleric, or I don't even know what the hell's going on. But there's a lot happening.
There's a lot happening on the front of that box. That looks cool.
I think probably my favorite thing is just that G having the dragon tail.
Yeah.
So, a shroud of darkness has fallen over the kingdom of Malice, and a prophecy of evil is about to be fulfilled. From somewhere deep in the caves of despair, Gildas stirs from his slumber. He has waited for nearly a year, and the time has arrived for him to begin his reign of destruction and to claim his rightful place as the King of Dragons. The armies of Malice lie defeated on the battlefield, and now as the creatures of darkness stand ready to plunge the land into the abyss, a new band of adventurers stand ready to battle Gildas and his minions to dispel darkness from the land forever. And then it's kind of got like 4 screenshots. It says 16 levels of medieval melee. For 1 or 2 players, simultaneous play, and choose from 5 unique characters, including fighter, dwarf, elf, and wizard.
Okay.
Well, that's kind of funny. It says choose for 5 unique characters. Fighter, dwarf, elf, and wizard. That's 4. I guess there's a cleric in there, correct?
There is a cleric.
Okay, so, that's just kind of strange.
So they forgot to mention the cleric.
I guess they just kind of, what would a cleric be? More like a wizard / elf? Maybe they just put it together, The damn clerics can't get no damn love. Well,
I mean, I do D&D and stuff like that, so there is a difference, and I'm not going to nitpick it. So
this is pretty interesting. It's a Capcom game. So, let's just say this. It was an arcade machine. It came in, it was a 4-player arcade. September 1991, I think, is when the cabinet came to North America. But it was April of 94 when it came to Super Nintendo. Mm-hmm. So here's just a little bit of information that I think is pretty interesting. It was developed and published by Capcom. In North America, it was published by, the people that brought it over called Romstar, Romstar. It's California based. And they started up in like 1984, and they did some distribution for SNK in the early days, before SNK had its own SNK America. They basically, what they were doing was they were licensing arcade games for Taito. They were distributing stuff for Capcom, SNK, Toplan, Sega. Then basically games for like Super Nintendo, Nintendo Game Boy, and they lasted until about 1994, and then they were absorbed by another company. I think in the grand scheme they were absorbed by Capcom, which makes sense. But just some of the other stuff that they had distributed, because I mean, Romstar was just kind of the middleman, I think, to get them here, but they helped distribute Bubble Bobble, partially, and 1942, Ghost and Goblins, Double Dragon 2. So they handled some stuff for some of the bigger manufacturers and helped bring it over. It was directed by Tomoshi Sadamoto, who just kind of, you're gonna dig the composer. So I'm excited about the composer. So Sadamoto, he produced Street Fighter 3 New Generation. He directed Resident Evil, Survivor 2, Code Veronica. So he had a pretty good pedigree, I guess. And so here's something I think will catch your attention, Josh. It was composed by Yoko Shimomura.
That name sounds familiar.
She was with Capcom, but ended up moving to Square Enix.
Okay.
And she worked on stuff like Final Fight, Street Fighter 2, and some of the Final Fantasy games. She had work in the Super Mario RPG.
Okay.
The music on it.
Solid game.
Parasite Eve, Legend of Mana, Xenoblade Chronicles, and is probably most well known for her work in writing a lot of the music for Kingdom Hearts.
Solid.
So I was pretty excited over that. I was like, holy crap. Now, of course.
I say, you're a Secret Ramona person, aren't you?
Oh, yeah. I love it.
I say, it's solid. I played all the other ones.
So, I just thought all that was kind of, you had some good people on this. To me, this is a beat 'em up. I've seen some places call this a arcade RPG. I don't think this is any sort of RPG for me. I mean,
it's an arcade slasher. It's a dungeon crawler.
Yeah, I was gonna say, just because there's a loose story to me, this doesn't tip the needle as an RPG. This is just let's just go beat the shit out of stuff. It's a beat 'em up.
It's a side scroller arcade style.
Maybe hack and slash. Yeah, melee. Yeah, yes. I like that. So you start on the left side of the screen, you move toward the right, and you beat up all kinds of enemies, like lizard folks and I think werewolf skeletons.
Orcs, goblins.
Yeah, exactly what you would expect in a old-timey medieval setting.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to save it. I'm not going to rant.
Okay.
It's on the break it side.
One of the things that, and I could see, how you could, this would be a popular cabinet. Now, of course, it came to the Super Nintendo. They lost 4 players. They had to go down to 2. And, you can choose between an elf, a wizard, a fighter, a cleric, and a dwarf. And so each one has and you can just about assume, which one has, skills. Fighter has his sword. He's basically the tank. And you got a bow and arrow, you got your wizard, and so your wizard's going to be powerful with magic, maybe not.
He's a glass cannon.
Yes. So
he's a glass cannon.
And I think all these guys and girls that you play as, I guess if you level them up enough, they're going to do their job. So you make your way through the world, 16 stages. I will go ahead and preface and say I did not make it through the 16th stage. I couldn't make it to the 16th stage. So I made it probably about 2/3 of the way through the game. I was going to go back and try to put some Game Genie codes in, perhaps. I just wanted to see what the ending was, but I didn't do that. So, but it's kind of mindless mayhem. And I think that's about all. Is there the button mapping is, I guess, somewhat okay at best. You have jump, you have attack, you have jump attack. Well, you can do that, and then you have like
special,
lightning attack or whatever.
Fire,
and I don't know. To me, there ain't really a whole lot much more to this game. Is there anything that I've missed, Josh, on building up what this game is?
No, I mean, I can sort. Like I said, they call it an RPG. It's not. Like, there are some story.
I think it was loosely called. Some folks may. To me, it's like this doesn't.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a loose story there.
But I couldn't tell you what it is other than you're trying to go to the last level and beat the baddie.
Yeah. You gotta go fight the BBEG.
BBEG?
Yeah.
Tell me, what is it?
Big Bad Evil Guy.
Big Bad Evil Guy. Okay. All right, so do you want to go ahead and jump into Make It and Break It, Joshua?
Sure. So, for starters, God, can't lie, man. Opening scene, the opening part of the game,
Right.
not terrible. It was on par. I think it was solid.
And you kind of go in with some of it. The graphics aren't great, but they look and feel like they work, you know? I mean, like I say, this is ported over from an old arcade, but you know, where the graphics I felt were kind of a little blocky, that's exactly what I expect of an arcade freaking player, you know? I mean, we're not playing like freaking, you know, X-Men the arcade game or something, you know. This is an older Capcom game that was brought, well, older now, but no, that's exactly what I expected it to look like.
Yeah, I expected arcade feel, and that's what you got out of it.
So, you know, one thing, I'm probably going to save this one for last. But to go on into the arcade feel, just even like the characters you pick, your character select screen, you know, your power-ups.
I like the character select.
Your continues and all that. The way the whole thing played, it did feel like you were playing just a straight-up arcade cabinet, which I think is what they were going for, and I think they definitely hit the ball out of the park on that.
Yeah, they succeeded on that. Easy. But, let's say, I love the character selection. I did play with every single character.
Okay.
Each character has their pros. They also have their cons.
Right.
But what do you expect? I mean, that's just the way those games are. Depending on which character you choose depends on the pros and the negatives. Like the wizard, glass cannon. All powerful, 2 hits, you dead. Same with the ranger type deal. They have that awesome range, but they don't have a lot of health. The fighter, a lot of health, a lot of damage.
Just to throw this out here, because there's, I'm going to have to play into your, this is going to be something I know will be in your make it, and I've been cracking up. But just a preface, when I played this, the first time or two I played it, I actually had somebody here, that I played it co-op.
You done a couch co-op.
And, so I will put in here, you know, single player and co-op play. I did go back and play single player, which I felt like was a different game, to be honest.
I about guarantee you it was.
I feel like in single player it was a little more
challenging,
technical.
Yeah.
You know, I think when playing co-op, it was more of like a mad dash anytime an item fell on the screen or killing stuff.
Whoever could
yes, and it was just like you would in an arcade. It's like, you know, okay, you see like something that you assume is points. You would be like, okay, I'm getting that. I don't give a crap. Like if it's gold and the other dude's fighting, I'm getting that damn gold.
I need health.
If it's health, I'd probably be like, okay, I'm at half and he's at a quarter. I'm eating it. If I'm like at 3/4 and they're a quarter, I'd be like, okay, there's health over here. But that is going to lead.
I bet you that was entertaining.
Yeah, and I'm going to probably save the final part of that for the final make it, because it was kind of neat. But all this leads up to is it's a point system that I can probably get behind.
Yeah.
I can agree with it because it was, I know you're the points guy. You love having points, even no matter how useless they are in places.
If you give me a game with points, it's all about the high score.
And that's how I felt this was. Sorry, I'm typing as I do this. It was absolutely that. It's like, I looked and I had a higher score than the folks I was playing with, and I'm like, I got to keep that higher score, you know. And
give me all the gold.
And so, like, I feel like once again, that is one of the targets that we're trying to hit. And you know, I don't give a crap about a whole lot of points, but I was like, okay, I can mess with these points, and
but that's also, like you said, that's the whole aspect of an arcade cabinet. Is you play for points on an arcade cabinet.
The other part, especially playing at 2-player, is, well, we'll go ahead and say there's a lot of bosses.
Per stage.
And there's, so you're getting 16 bosses, you know. So, and each player isn't stuck on the same plane. And I thought that was a big deal.
Yeah.
So, like, you could move vertically and horizontally, and that helped out a lot because I think the game would have been a mess if you had to share a plane.
Yeah.
And there was a pretty good vertical plane that you could move up and down. So, it kept you from feeling like you were out on top of each other. Like, you could go fight and do your thing and then help out without, like, feeling like you were impeding or anything. But with that going on, especially with all the boss fights and stuff, one of the coolest things was playing it as 2-player. Whoever landed the final blow on the boss, like if I was the barbarian and Zach, the guy I was playing with, was the wizard, it would say, death blow by barbarian. Or it would tell you who put the death blow. So technically, I'm the guy, like when you put a puzzle together that holds the last piece, and I put it in and say, I put it together, motherfuckers. You know?
Yeah.
Like you literally do that. You could carpet bag it and say, nope, I ain't playing. And then you put that final blow in, and it'd be like, Josh put the death blow in. And I was like, I kind of like that.
Now, my question is this. Did it give you just the points, or did it split them up?
I think there was probably a split of points, to be honest. I didn't really pay attention.
Because how big of an asshole move would it be?
It would have been.
If you were the one that gets the last hit in and you get all the points.
What if you were over there just like letting your boy just over there just like
Pow,
pow, pow, pow. And all of a sudden like you get him to like that one sliver and then you drop your lightning bolt attack and they kill him. That would be a dick.
It would be a super dick move.
So
it'd been funny.
So while I was playing it, this part I thought was funny. I felt like I needed to add for you.
Okay.
Because I would not, I guess we're old, but I've never played this game, but mind you, I was alive during the Super Nintendo era. So, I forget that some folks probably aren't, and then there's just stuff that's modern day that I assume is the way it used to be.
Yeah.
So as I was playing this co-op, another friend came in, and they go and play Dungeons and Dragons, I think, every Saturday or Sunday.
I do it every Sunday.
So they made a quote that I thought was funny, probably unwarranted. They're just talking to themselves. So this is why it's so much more funny to me. The characters, the ones like you said, are kind of styled like in a Dungeons and Dragons style.
Yeah.
And you do kind of get a Dungeons and Dragons vibe. Like just, you're killing a lot of the same enemies. The game can be completely different, but if you just looked at it, you could see where somebody could say, oh, this looks like like a game that's has something to do with Dungeons and Dragons. I bet in high school, if I came in and I was like, look at what I got, I'd probably got my nuts kicked. Because there wouldn't have been nobody saying, oh, that's cool,
Yeah.
But they said, as they were talking to each other, and they said, man, this must have been how Dungeons and Dragons was in the 90s. It's a lot different now. This must have been how they played back then. And I'm like, I don't think that's exactly it. But I was cracking up because I'm like, that's funny as shit to me.
No, Dungeons and Dragons is still the same. Just different editions.
They're like, this must have been how they played it back in the Dark Ages, It's like, this was like 1994, motherfucker.
Yeah, no. Still, you had to use your imagination. You still done the whole tabletop. But, granted, you gotta look at it. The new Baldur's Gate just released. And it's heavy emphasis on Dungeons and Dragons and Pathfinder. And everybody is loving that game. But back then, Nintendo didn't really have that aspect. The closest thing I would call to being like a D&D themed would be all your turn-based RPGs. Like your Mario's Quest of the Seven Stars. Or, any Final Fantasy game that's turn-based.
Mm.
That would be your closest expectation to a D&D themed game because it is all turn-based. What I'm thinking is if you threw on Gauntlet, it would blow his mind.
This, to me, I kind of had a feeling like this was Dungeons and Dragons vibe mixed with Gauntlet. But instead, I feel like the Gauntlets that I really liked and enjoyed was like some of the ones on Xbox where it was top down and you were moving vertical like through the map and hacking and slashing. That that is exactly. I did kind of have a Gauntlet.
See, I had a Gauntlet feel. The Gauntlet arcade cabinet feel to this one.
So I've got one last thing for Make It. And do you have anything on your heart you need to say about this?
Well, I could go all day about the characters and everything like that because, like I said, they all have their pros, they all have their cons. There's probably a best character out of them all, depending on how you play.
I gotta go ahead and tell you about speedrun. Apparently, there is.
Yeah,
there's a faster one than any. Apparently,
yeah.
Now, I will say too, just to preface or to go back on, is there's a lot of bosses. The bosses there was a couple that were kind of the same.
Yeah.
But hey, you're in the forest, you get spider. Hey, you're over here in this castle, you get these freaking 3-headed snake.
You're in a dungeon. Guess what? There's a goddamn dragon.
Yeah, so
a 3-headed dragon. Actually, it's a hydra, but still.
I do think they kind of did. Well, I just called it a 3-headed snake, but I think it did pretty good, giving me different boss design.
It did, but like you said, there was a couple of them that shared the same type of moves. But overall, each boss still had their unique feel, which I thought was solid still. But like I said, if you done this with a couch co-op, like how you did, one of these would have to be like a fighter cleric type deal.
I was the barbarian. That's typically the guy I like to play with.
The tanky
and
dude.
I think he was one with the bow and arrow, or maybe he was the wizard. I can't remember.
That's the thing. What I was saying is he was the range damage dealer. So, and that's normally how you want to do it whenever you do any type of co-op. But whenever you're doing single player, unless you're just absolutely perfect, you got to be the tank.
For me, and this is my biggest one, we can keep going on some more stuff too, but I did feel like playing it co-op and singular was two different games.
It was.
Because the first time I played it in co-op, dude, it was just freaking mayhem.
Mm-hmm.
It was just them mad dash. Oh, I see an enemy. Who's it? Let's get on him.
Yeah.
It was just like, regulators, mount up,
jump them.
And so, like, some of the bosses, there's one part where this one boss was just laying into me, and Zach's over there going, pew, 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 and he's just slaughtering this dude. Of course, this dude just, like, butt fucked me 12 times, so, I mean, it was literally playing with two people. There wasn't a whole lot of strategy involved. I better save some of that for the break it, because him playing as the range, there was some enemies that was a lot easier for him to attack than my damn barbarian. But so then I play it on single player, and I'm like, man, like, it was pretty tough to get to where we were. And I get on single player, and I'm like, it's almost a little easier. At least going to the bosses, because instead of just mad dash trying to kill them, you're actually watching the pattern. Well, it's hard to watch a pattern. I just tell you this from experience. It's hard to watch a pattern on a boss and figure it out when one dude's just over there going ham on it. Then you're just like, what are you doing? Like, you're Leroy Jenkins. You're getting over there and hacking with it. But like, if like in single player, you actually kind of sit back and take your time with it. I think at one point I actually ran out of time, and it killed me, and I had another life, but I was just waiting on the pattern, and literally my time ticked out for the pattern. But that was one thing that was really kind of cool, was like when I went back and played single player, I was like, man, I ain't gonna get through the second stage. I think you got farther in single player than I did in 2-player.
Yeah. So
that was kind of weird. What else do you have, Josh? That's all I've got in Make It. So
that's all I got for now. I mean, like I said, I could harp on it, do all the comparisons to D&D and all that, but I'm not going to.
Well, I'll jump in to break it, and I'm going to throw one thing out there that wasn't noticeable in the 1-player that was very noticeable in the 2-player is, my God, there was some serious chugging issues happening in 2-player.
Oh, really?
And once again, this may have been emulation, but I had zero effects of this playing it single player.
I had no problems with chug.
Oh, there was some pretty bad chug, especially when you're talking about bosses, flying things. There was chugging. There was like a couple times where it was just like, good God, is the whole game going to just freeze and stop right here? But there was 2-player, even though it was still fun, it was just kind of like, at one point I feel like you just kind of look at the other players like, okay, well, let's let this pass real quick, you know. So there was major chugging issues. I guess probably one of the bigger things that is kind of I guess I ain't really gonna say it bad. I've got this labeled as goofy. This is the goofiest part of the game. Some of the level designs and the length of the levels is just fucking goofy. Yeah. Like, I swear that if you told me a level, like, to me in a game like this, a level, if you told me it was like a 2 to 4 minute level, okay, yeah, I get average. It. I swear to God, there was levels that I don't think was 15, 20 damn seconds, you know? It was like...
The boat level.
Yeah, I was like, what in the hell? Is that a level?
Yeah, the boat travel was, you got, what, 6 enemies? 9
I don't
enemies?
know. It was bad, though.
Kill them as fast as you can. Level ends.
Yeah. Cool. And then you get to you're like, did we do something special? Did we screw something up?
Yeah.
No, it was just a super short level. I don't understand, like... I thought that maybe there'd be a little more consistency between it, because I mean, like I don't even know if the boat level had like a final boss. Did it? I can't remember.
No, the boat level was really like 6 to 9 enemies, and that was it.
So see, when I say there's 16 levels or 16 bosses, there really wasn't, because there wasn't a boss on that. I was like, how the hell is there not a freaking boss?
Yeah, I was at least expecting to fight like a kraken or something like that.
So then. I guess this kind of goes into goofy, too. Okay. Hop in level 1. You're just over here kind of like, dude from Hitch. Just
staying in
it right here.
Stay in your lane.
And you're over here, you're killing a few things. You're like, man, this game's pretty fun. Get to like stage 2, you're like, all right, man, we rolling. Stage 3 getting a little tougher. Like stage 5, holy shit, what happened? Like the devil himself is out here fighting me. Like, dude, the difficulty, like, I don't know. It was probably like about level 6. Like,
it ramps.
Fuck's sake. Like, it went from like, okay, this is okay. It's going to get tougher. Okay, yeah, it's a little tougher. Oh, wow, that boss is kind of tough to... Holy shit. Yeah. How do you kill these bastards?
It's putting your toes in the water, and you're like, okay. And then you take a step. Now the water's up to like probably mid-calf.
The next thing you know, the boat's gone, and you get nothing around.
Next step, it's about to your knee. Third step, you're like, okay, it's about waist high. Then after that, like you said, oh, you're drowning.
Now... That's probably due if it was me and it was Capcom, and I'm going to be like, well, hey, you know what? Just because the game's tougher, you know what them kids are going to do? They're going to feed some more quarters.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm guessing that's why it is. And,
see, and that brings it into one of my break-its, too. Is with it being an arcade cabinet game, you know this was designed to suck quarters.
Right.
So your continues, theoretically,
that's a quarter, 50 cent every time.
Yeah, it should be, on that type of game, unlimited.
I would think so, too. That was bullshit. I didn't even mark that down, but you're 100% right. Because, I mean, I'm just going to say, like, I think it was like level 10 I got to. That might have been the farthest I got. Somewhere in that area.
Yeah,
and then I ran out of them continues. It's like, okay, you know what? 12. Give me an alternate ending or tell me I suck. But, damn it, I just played like... It wasn't that long, but I was like, I just played like 30 minutes of my damn life. Now you're going to make me start all the way back over from fucking scratch.
It's a solid 30 to 45 minutes to get 10 to 12.
I mean, even if it was continue with a different character. But.
Or, hey, decrease point value.
Okay.
Or, how about this? Because this was another breaker for me. You're dropping all that gold for money. Why doesn't the gold add up to once you hit a certain amount, gives you an extra life?
Okay, well, you're going to get me started on some golds and some drops and some power-ups. Number 1, not knowing what the fucking power-ups do sucks. Okay, yeah, it's gold. I know that's points, right?
Yeah.
Hey, there's a damn gem over here. Is this gem going to give me health? Is it going to give me points? Well, it gives you points. But it's like, do I really need like 6 different colored gems? Like, just give me a gem. Like, and there was some certain things that did give me health that I didn't think would give me health.
The gems, the different colors meant different value.
So, yeah, fuck that. Fuck that. You know, give me points, whatever. But then, to go in with that, there was a lot of the drops that just felt useless. It was just points. I felt like they could have did better, especially with limiting you on continues, of perhaps giving you a little bit more health or opportunity for health.
Or, hey, this is just me. Throw in a merchant where I can spend gold.
Right. Well, the other part that I have in with the power-ups and the drops, especially this is one that really pissed me off. And so, like, you finish a stage and you get, like, an armor or a fucking weapon upgrade. Yeah, that was pretty much irrelevant. I mean, yeah, you're leveling your guy or your girl up, whichever one you're picking. So you get your sword, and they don't even really let you pick. You just get a random one. Oh, I got a sword this time. I guess I'm getting a shield next time or whatever. But, like, at the level that your player was progressing, the enemies were progressing twice as fast as you. So it's like, hey, I got a new sword. That's awesome. I should be able to kick the shit out of stuff. No, guess what? I still got to hit these motherfuckers like 15 times, maybe more than I had to because everybody else leveled up. So I'm like, son of a bitch. It's like, why are you even giving me this if it really doesn't matter? Because...
Oh, it mattered. It changed the cosmetic of your weapon.
It did change the cosmetic, and that was about it because, okay, well, I was killing blue lizard guy with X amount of shots. Now I got purple lizard guy. I've got a better weapon, but now I've got to hit him more times. It's like, fuck's sake, give me a level with the blue lizard guys again so I feel like I did something, you know? I was just like, oh, it's just another useless fucking sword power up or a useless wizard staff, you know, and that part kind of pissed me off, to be honest.
Oh, no, I can tell you what pissed me off the most about it. Your special attack consumed health. Why?
Okay, this is just...
Why did it consume health?
This is weird. So number one...
Give me a mana bar.
Why? Yeah, I'm very surprised there wasn't like a health and magic bar. Especially when you're introducing wizards and clerics. I'm like... This is like, you know, even as
D&D.
Diablo, you got your red vial and your blue vial.
Yep.
And I can understand for a barbarian, that blue vial probably don't mean shit, but to that wizard, that is his whole attack, you know.
Seeker of Mana, same thing.
But the thing that I had an issue with was, number one, how weird. I mean, I guess I'm really no comment on, but... So when you would get one of these power-ups that popped up as a balloon, how weird is it that it's a balloon? Don't you think it should just be a power-up? You walk over and it says, hey, you have like a power blast or something like that. Or you have a special attack. It was kind of weird.
Classified as a balloon?
I don't know. It looked like a little ball, a little floating ball. I thought it was a balloon.
To me, it looked like a floating stone.
Okay.
But, I mean...
And, you know, I did push them through the stage. And, and then I would accidentally hit them and stuff too. But I'm just like, wouldn't this just be easier to say, hey... You obtained a special attack.
Because, I mean...
You got your Nova Bomb.
Because those things do vanish.
Yes.
After a while.
And I did have a problem. I never knew how many, if any, I had. Like, I swear, I didn't know if I had one. I just hit a damn button. Now, I would say I'd spam it, especially when I was playing a boss and I was like, oh, shoot, I'm about dead. Let me spam these attacks real quick.
Yeah.
But... Yeah, it was like, hey, we're going to keep this a damn secret. And to be honest, it probably had something to do with your display down there, but the display was pretty much, once again, a moot point. You couldn't look down there. There's too much shit going on.
It was a display. There was this little bar that was red, yellow, and green. It was all one color, one bar, which was your health bar. If you took damage, it moved down. If you used your special attack, it moved down.
I didn't notice that because it's like, well, hell, I never know what I got a damn special attack. I just rode around, hit a damn button.
Not your balloon attack, but no, I think if you hit Y, like you'd summon the lightning or
fire.
That's what I'm deeming as a special attack.
Okay,
and you would consume life points. You would consume health. All right. Here's the other part of that. Why the fuck does a barbarian summon lightning or fire?
I don't know.
I would figure a special attack would be a charge, a heavy hit melee attack.
Well, maybe a barbarian. I can see kind of like maybe He-Man style. You lift the sword up and the lightning bolt hits it.
This isn't wild magic barbarians.
Who says it's not? Who says it's not? Okay, here's another thing. Now I'm thinking of it. I don't think there was a bat in this game. I would totally expect there to be a bat. Out of all the games, I don't remember seeing a bat.
There's not a bat, but there is a flying imp demon.
There is that. But, okay.
And, let me go ahead and throw this in here, too. This game has lizard men, orcs, goblins, imps, dragons, hydras, the undead.
The lizard men were a little strange.
They were a little strange.
I felt like that was kind of like the level of not Department 56, Area 51, where the Greys are down lower, but the lizard people are in the middle.
Oh yeah.
So I felt like that was the lizard men we were fighting. Like that's how I pictured my alien lizard men. Just so you know.
But so that they do all this, right? They give it this medieval Dungeon and Dragons type feel.
Right.
But they don't mention the goddamn cleric on the box.
Yeah, it didn't. I mean, I just read it and I was like, there's 5 classes, and it was like, you only listed 4.
Exactly.
Okay, so here's a little beef I got. And I'm only doing it because they were sons of bitches. And it's, okay. So, the world goes to hell. You're fighting a lizard man. Somebody said, oh, what happened to Josh? Oh, one of them damn lizard men speared him. Okay, well, them's kind of some big lizard men. Okay, I get it, you know.
Yeah.
Hey, what happened? What happened to your lab, George? Oh, that flying imp came and got the sumbitch, but, I can understand this defeating somebody. Why the fuck were the skeletons so fucking tough? The skeletons were like the toughest shit. I was like, oh, a skeleton got me. This ain't like no mummy skeleton. But like,
no, this was straight skeleton.
The skeletons were tough as shit. Yes. And I'm just like, dude, I'm just like kicking the shit out of these things and they just won't die. And I'm like, okay, I've literally fought at this point like 7, 8 levels of bullshit to get to these skeletons. And these things are way more, I guess, they got more muscle. It looks like they have more to them than a fucking skeleton.
They have dense bones.
I got 12-foot skeletons out there. They break, Josh. They break. I've just had to get them welded, But, yeah, I'm like, I got in here, why in the hell is skeleton so tough? No. Like, Jesus. Like, I hated the skeletons in this.
See, and that brings me to the cleric. Clerics are supposed to be really good against undead. It didn't fucking matter. Like, it really didn't. And that's what pissed me off the most. Is you break this down into classes. So your melee attacks, I understand. Get up there and fight them. Your ranged attacks, I understand. But a cleric is a holy person. Your one job is to heal the party members and decimate the undead. And you didn't even give me that.
I felt like...
So you gave me a shit character who had a range of a 1-inch dick attack.
I do feel that they missed the mark on making all 5 of their characters distinguished. Like, they were different. Don't get me wrong, but I felt like you should have made more of a difference with them. So, like,
the fighters should have been able to use both melee and range. The barbarians should have been tough as fuck. Be out there hitting people. The cleric should decimate the undead and have some type of healing property, not only to heal himself, but a party group. Rangers are again rangers. They should be fast and nimble and be able to do it.
Body and morphin.
Yeah. Be able to go into a Megazord.
I threw you off a little with that when you weren't ready.
You did. I wasn't ready, but that was solid.
That look on your face. Like, what the fuck is this idiot saying?
But solid. And then your magic, your wizard person should be the all-powerful. But a glass cannon. One hit, you're dead.
Here's my biggest... This is something... I don't know if it was like this on the arcade. I figure it probably is. I feel like this is probably a very true port from arcade. Like, I don't think a whole lot has changed other than the players. And one thing I have some fun facts of it. But
it went from 4 to 2.
The thing that was the most frustrating in this whole game to me. Okay, well, the flying enemies suck, especially if you were like a barbarian or a fighter. Like, I felt like it was very difficult to hit these guys. Okay, fair enough. You're probably a barbarian wearing armor. It's hard for you to really hit shit flying around. Okay, what are you gonna do? Throw your damn sword at it? Go chase your sword down in the field? I can get behind that, but not even, just even against normal enemies, when you were jumping you were stuck on the plane you were in.
Yeah.
You couldn't jump and then pivot up.
Yeah,
and that it wasn't as noticeable against normal enemies. Yes. It wasn't as noticeable against normal enemies as it was the boss, when the boss is moving pretty, fluid. Yeah. And so you're like, okay, well, I'm pretty close. And there's many times I jumped up and tried to hit and I'd miss him. And I'm like, man, I'm like, how am I missing him? And then you're like, and the whole time I'm still holding up as I'm jumping, thinking that my guy's going to move up as he jumps, and it did not.
Yeah.
And that part was the worst. To me, that may have been the worst part of the whole game. The skeletons really did piss me off a lot. But not being, like, you could move on that plane on the ground, and no problem with that. But if you jumped, you could not. You were stuck on that plane, and I did not enjoy that. I thought it made some of my boss battles
1,000 times harder.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy them as much. Yeah. Like, I was like, okay, well, this might have been cool, but like, I feel like I hit this guy 3 times, but now I gotta. Apparently, I ain't did shit. You know, it was just, that part was pretty frustrating to me, and I'm sure you probably weren't able to do it in the arcade either. I don't know. I've never played the arcade cabinet, but that part was probably the thing that deterred me the most, because I did enjoy playing this game. But like,
it was a fun game.
This game, I was like, this is kind of a simple mechanic that I can't believe is the way it is.
Yeah, it's not implemented. Because I think, hell, even the X-Men game, you could jump.
I'm pretty sure. I know you could unlock turtles. And if you couldn't notice it, which means they did it well. And I'll probably throw this in the break too. I really didn't have much opinion on it until I did the research. But I could tell you, I can't remember any of the music on here. And I'm like, man, I feel like you had, and maybe it wasn't, Capcom's fault, but, you had Yoko that did all this stuff, and I think the music was fine, and maybe that is good, because it wasn't, but I'm like, I felt like I should have noticed it a little bit more after that. It
blended perfectly with the game itself.
But I feel like we could have probably showcased it a little bit more, just knowing the pedigree that, of what she'd made. But, I bet I couldn't tell you anything about the music. It was just like, I guess it was like elevator music to me. I mean, I ain't gonna say that it was bad, but it was unnoticeable. But of course, there was so much going on in the game,
Yeah.
I've got one final word talking about the arcade and the port, and that's probably all I've really got to kick on it. Do you have anything that you would like to say?
No, because I think I ranted enough about the D&D similarities.
So I just put this here as, and I'm reading it word for word. I feel like it's a better arcade than a Super Nintendo port. I don't think the replayability is as strong on Super Nintendo. I can see feeding quarters into this cabinet. So I think what probably kills it is on the Super Nintendo, you die, you continue. You die, you continue. You run out of continues, you play it again. You're playing this game back to back to back to back to back. I mean, you're constantly going to play it. If we're sitting here saying, hey, let's play it until we beat this game, there's going to be a lot of, repetitive gameplay. When you go to an arcade, how often do you think you typically go to an arcade? I mean, I would say that growing up, of course we didn't have money for shit, and still don't, but, if we went by the mall like once every 2 months, that was probably a big deal, and I sure as hell didn't have no quarters to go feed in a machine. But if you go play in an arcade, say you had like $2 in quarters, which was probably pretty good back in the day.
Yeah, that's solid.
And say you played it for an hour and then you ran out of quarters, you're probably not going back, even though you're playing it repetitive. And like I did when I was dying and continuing, I was playing it repetitive back to back. But, when's the next time you're going to go to an arcade that has that? It's probably going to be at least a couple of weeks at best, months. So I feel like the game was not as exposed some of the problems if you only played it every so often. And plus, at an arcade, you're not going to go in there and play just one game.
No, you're playing them all.
So this is why I think if you had it in a cabinet, if we went into one of these barcades or went to Token and they had this game there, I think we'd probably enjoy it more as a cabinet, because we're going to bounce around. Super Nintendo, you're paying, I don't know, probably $40, $50 on that game. And by God, you're like me, you're poor, your parents bought you this game, you're playing this damn game over and over and over. And so I think
until you become the master.
I don't think some of the problems were probably as big a deal as if you only play this game occasionally. That's why I feel like this is by far a better arcade cabinet than a port to a video game. But that's just me.
Yeah. I mean, I can't argue with that.
All right. I've only got like one fun fact, Josh, and I'm going to go ahead and knock out your fun fact. And then we're going to talk about speedruns. So I figured that this would have massive, like, followers behind it. And I ain't saying that it is, I guess that's the wrong term. I figured when I looked up fun facts, it would be all kinds of shit that I could find. I really didn't.
Well, that's kind of disappointing.
So here is really...
I figured I was going to piss off a lot of people.
This is probably the only fun fact that I had that was notable that I found. Was in the original arcade and the Super Famicom versions, when they're fighting the Hydra, or the Dragon/Snake, when you kill them, the head falls down.
Yep.
Just like it does in the Super Nintendo. But the Super Nintendo version, the heads fell farther toward the screen as to obscure the gore. So even though I didn't by any means think it was gory, I don't know, you maybe got a little blood, a little bit of veins or something coming out. So we kind of got a little nerfed down version.
Oh.
Of course, this was 94, Mortal Kombat done pissed off a lot of parents,
Yeah.
So I would say that is probably what that was. I remember Walmart, even then, was like, we don't take back games that are opened. And by God, they started taking back Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
When people started getting the spine pulled out, the parents got upset. So I would say it was probably smart of Capcom at that point to...
yeah. I'm about to say, that is a logical move on their point.
And that would be my guess. Why.
Yeah.
Now, one thing, maybe it was an outcry overseas and in the Famicom. I never heard anybody over there bitch about Mortal Kombat, but I don't live over there, so I'm not hearing the day-to-day news. I mean, it was on our local news. I remember it.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat was the most violent game to ever exist at one point in time.
And so maybe nobody really cared overseas. That's my guess.
No, there's different censorships overseas, so they already had that in place. Because I do know for a fact in Australia, the Borderlands games don't have gore. Instead, they leak rainbows.
Okay, that's weird.
It's very weird, but it's funny.
Never played a Borderlands game.
Solid games.
I got some pretty fun. I hate to say fun. I'm very entertained by the speedruns on this.
I'm terrified of the speedruns.
So this speedrun is by it's one player, any percent. So you just beat the game.
Yeah.
There was no prerequisites, but they were all ran by wizards. So it showed what everybody picked, and everybody on this list was a lizard. And there was a wizard, not a lizard. You killed the lizards with the wizards.
You're a lizard, Harry.
So, I picked the top 5 because what do you think a speedrun just beat this game?
Oh, it's going to be sickening.
I don't know. I'd say it's probably about what you would think for somebody that knows what the hell they were doing playing this game.
Well, see, with me, I would have gave it about an hour, and I think I could have beat it.
Okay, well, number 5. All these were ranged from 1 to 5 years ago when these were set. This guy's name is Teleo1 or Teleo1, Teleo1. I think it's Teleo1 would be what I go with. 3 years ago, he did it in 29 minutes, 49 seconds.
Yeah, see, no.
Number 4, Joker of God, did it 5 years ago, 28 minutes, 39 seconds. I don't know how to say this name. They're from Quebec. It is Naramgamjan. It's Naramgamjan.
I like it.
I feel like it's Black Betty, Ram Gam Chan. You know, like I feel like it's something
It's
like
a Black Betty thing.
They did it a year ago. They were the newbie on here at 27 minutes 49 seconds. Dark Alexander has did it 27 minutes 25 seconds, and Sorcerer Siege dropped his or her nuts or titties, whatever they want to drop, whatever they've got. They dropped them if they had them. They pretty much almost won by 30 seconds. It's 26 minutes, 57 seconds.
Damn.
So, I did have two names. I mean, there was quite a few people, so just out of curiosity, I feel like your name gets you something. You know?
Yeah.
So I think I may have a new, like, I feel like every game I've ever played has a reference of Big Daddy, and there's a Scuba Steve in there.
There's always a Scuba Steve, or there's a Big Daddy, or there's some type of nut dragger.
So there is a guy, this is in no order, it was just fun names that was on the list. Funky Fuji was one of them.
Okay, like it.
And instead of Scuba Steve, we had Low Tier Steve.
Well,
I kind of like it.
Low Tier Steve, you need to upgrade to Scuba Steve.
I feel like Low Tier, I don't know necessarily the meaning, but I feel like you're probably like Great Value Steve.
Yeah, you know? That's what I'm thinking too.
So the same run, but only on Expert. That was as normal. There was three. It's the same three people. Basically, Naram.
Gim Jam?
Yeah. Yeah.
So spell it out for me one more time.
I'm trying to see if it's an I or a J. It's Nara.
Nara.
MGAM. And it's either an I or a JAN. Let's say an I, not me. Naram Gamanian. Nara Gamanian. I don't know.
Naram Gaiman.
Yeah, that's what I said. Good enough for me. So,
Naram Gaiman.
So Naram Gaiman did it in normal mode at 27 minutes 49 seconds. In expert mode with the wizard and the lizard, they did it in 33 minutes. So they basically added 6 minutes, and that's So Dark Alexander did it 27 minutes 25 seconds. He did it on expert 29:59.
Okay, so you're roughly adding anywhere between 6 to 7 minutes.
Well, Alexander only added about 2.5 minutes. Yeah. So Sorcerer Siege did it in 26 minutes 57 seconds. He did it in 29:56. So the top three were the same, but he only won by 3 seconds, where he was like almost 30 seconds. It was 28's what he'd won by in normal mode. So and it just keeps going. So any percent completing the game as 2-player, and this is what I like. There was
is there a chance?
No, but the people that are all on the top of this speed run teamed up together and ran co-ops on it.
Okay.
So all of them used the same setup. They used they used a fighter and a wizard.
Okay.
So everyone that ran them, there wasn't a whole lot. I'm just going to go from number one down. Number one, Sorcerer Siege and Dark Alexander, which were the number 1s and 3s.
Yeah.
They own it. They did it in 29 minutes, 10 seconds. There's a person, Boyo, B-O-Y-O, or Boyo, 003, and Dark Alexander. So Dark Alexander doing another compilation. Did it in 30 minutes, 25 seconds. There is this guy's name is Maximus, spelled Maxeximus, and our Nara Gaiman, they did 133 minutes, 51 seconds. And I felt with the names, I had to add these people. They did it in 42 minutes. They are 10 minutes slower than the next place.
Yeah.
It was Count Gooby and Star Surfer.
Nice.
I can see, who dare bother this dragon? It be Count Gooby, sir, and Star Surfer. Like, I feel like that's how they should have.
Yeah.
Well, attention, court, the slayer of the dragon, Star Surfer and Gooby. It used to be Count Gooby, is now Night Gooby. And on Expert, there was one run on expert with co-ops, Dark Alexander and Boyo, 3 to 35 minutes, 34 seconds. I know it's a lot of numbers, but I was very entertained just because.
Oh, yeah. That's
I think
solid.
what I like is the people that are from all different countries and different places. Like, hey, this guy's good. I'm number
Let's
one
team
and
up
number
with
two.
it. Yeah.
Let's run it.
Let's see what we can do.
And then I like that Dark Alexander had like 2 or 3 different runs with 2 or 3 different people, and he's just like, "Fuck it, let's run it.
Yeah.
You want to play? Let's do it." And plus, these are old Super Nintendo games. This ain't like just getting in a matchmaking lobby and Call of Duty, and you find somebody that might be a friend. Like, you probably had to actively seek friends for this.
Yeah.
So let's jump into my favorite part to listen to your anguish. Is price charting and eBay sales. Let me just ask you this, Josh. Why do you think a loose copy of this game costs?
I don't know.
So, let's look at this.
I'm terrified.
You kind of got, there's one thing that I do know is I think anybody can go play Dungeons and Dragons, but I feel like the longer there's a lot of expensive shit.
Oh, yeah.
So I feel like the longer you play it, the more expensive it gets. And there's one thing I don't know if nerds that play Dungeons and Dragons or cool kids, whatever you want to call them.
We're nerds.
So you LARPers.
We're not LARPers. We're not LARPers.
I don't know if you make money and you ain't got shit to spend it on. Or, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's like anything else. It's like a hobby. Like, I collect video games. How cool is that? Woo, So you want to play a role-playing game. Tisk it, task it. But I feel like there's a lot of Dungeons and Dragons shit that gets expensive. So I feel like this is kind of a Dungeon and Dragon type game. Is it expensive? Is it not? It's a Capcom game, which normally has a little fanfare. Yeah. So I'm kind of all over the board on this.
I agree. That's what I'm thinking.
So
I got 2 guesses for a loose copy.
Tell me your first guess.
And one of them is my low guess.
You've got what you think it is, and then you got a retarded price.
No, I got these 2 guesses. Again, it's on the spectrum. Is it going to be up here, or is it going to be down low?
Yep.
So my first guess would be about $23 for a loose copy, and that's on the down low side.
It is low.
That's what I thought. My up high is I'm going to say $60 for a loose.
You're low.
Still low?
You're still low.
Okay, so that to me, that means that this game aged greatly with the D&D community.
Or the Capcom, or the old cabinet people, or maybe, hey, don't get me wrong.
No.
I enjoyed this game, but I was not beside myself.
No, it's the D&D community, because D&D got the biggest influx of new members, followers, and everything that it's ever seen in the past 10 years that it has ever since it first came out. So that's strictly D&D community. So with that being low, then a loose cart, probably around $200.
You're high. Dial it back a little bit.
170?
Well, I'd say a little bit. There's a $10 difference off what I was seeing on the average price on eBay versus price charting. Price charting had it at $99.23. Everything I seen on eBay is about $110.
Yeah.
So what do you think a complete copy goes?
Oh, dude, ridiculous amount of money. I'm calling it anywhere between $500 to $900.
Do your what is your normal equation?
Oh, multiply it by 3, so $300.
On eBay, I seen them on average going $300. Price charting $329.
See, and I threw my math out the window because of the influx.
Now this one is weird.
See, my net's
it's weird. The new one, according to price charting, doesn't seem right. But then wait until I tell you, there's not one sold on eBay, but there's one listed or a couple that are on sale on eBay, and I'll tell you what people are asking for them, and it's stupid.
Well, see, and that's the thing is my normal one now will be multiplied by 4, so you're looking at $1,200.
Okay, well, you're never going to guess this. So price charting said complete in box. This is $329. The new one is $403.50. Why the hell is the new one $70 more? So I'm like, okay, well, here's a part where 1 or 2 sales have probably influenced the price charting of this. And so it's like, even though price charting is probably, I'm not going to say probably. They're spot on with sales, but just because somebody sells something for cheaper, they don't know what they got, even though it does have an effect in the market, especially if you're buying it. But it shouldn't swing it that low. So I'm like, okay, well, something's wrong here just by the way these sales have happened. So I went to eBay and I started looking at new ones, and I found a few, and I didn't find none of them cheaper than $3,000 damn dollars.
Yeah,
I just started laughing. I was like, Josh would lose his shit.
Yeah.
So we'll call it $100 cart. I got $100 in one hand, or $100 cart of King of Dragons in my left hand, and I got $50 cash. And I say, take one of them, Josh. What are you taking?
I'm taking the 50 on this.
I'm taking the 52. Not to say that this isn't a good game, but this is not no damn $100 game.
No, it's absolutely not. This has been influenced due to the community.
Yeah, I have a problem with it being $100. I mean, complete in box, if you told me it was $300, I'd say it probably ain't that bad.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But that's pretty much it. Is there anything that you have to say before we put this into
the rankings? No, I think I'm good.
Okay. Do you want me to go first? Or you want to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay, good, because I got to figure out what I'm doing here.
So mine so far this season, number 1 is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Number 2, Pieces. 3, Miss Pac-Man. 4, Mario is Missing. And 5 is Foreman for Real. I think I'm going to probably throw this at my number 2. I think whatever this game is called, what is it? King of Dragons?
Yes.
Dragon King?
King of Dragon Nuts.
So he is now number 2.
So you got Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
And King of Dragon.
King of Dragons.
And then Pieces down. So Pieces, number 3. Miss Pac-Man, number 4. And Foreman, Mario is Missing, number 5. And Foreman for Real, number 6.
And there's no doubt that this game's better than Foreman for Real and Miss Pac-Man. Yeah. And I do think this game is better than Mario is Missing. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, it's not number 1. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers is better than this game. I think even though I think this game is way more challenging than Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, you're kind of like in a straight-up beat-em-up again. And I think Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, even though it was kind of an easy game, was still better.
We beat it.
Yes. Now, I think that I could probably beat this game, but like I say, going and playing it over and over, and I don't have it loses the replayability.
Yeah. Yeah. I think to be able to play this and beat it nowadays is like it's got to have that replayability factor, or you got to use a game genie, or if you're one of these sick bastards out here that do speed runs.
I need to go watch one of their speed runs. I don't know. I think I'm done with this game forever.
I think I'm done too. So where are you ranking it?
So it's really right there at Pieces. Is Pieces better than it? And I kind of feel like the game is, but the game's it's not a lot to Pieces.
I'll tell you my reasoning why.
And I kind of feel like I'm a little jaded too, because it's like I did get to play the co-op on King of Dragons, but I did too on Pieces. I watched it and it did look pretty nuts. But you tell me what you got on your mind.
But I'll say the reason why I moved Pieces down is it comes back to the 5-player co-op of Pieces. If we could have played that, guarantee you Pieces would probably be number 1 on this list.
I think I've got King of Dragons above Pieces as well, and it's not a slot on Pieces.
It's the party
right
mode.
There.
Yeah. To me, I think the selling point would have been the party mode.
If you ask me 10 minutes from now, which is a better game, I might say Pieces. I don't know. It's pretty close right there. So I think I'm with you. We both got Mighty Morphin Power Rangers at number 1, King of Dragons at number 2, Pieces at number 3. I've got Mario is Missing above Miss Pac-Man, and then Foreman for Real. You got Miss Pac-Man, Mario is Missing, and then Foreman for Real. So
we can agree that Foreman for Real is by far the worst.
It was the worst this season. I still don't think it's Untouchables bad. I think Untouchables is the epitome of like. I think if you told me, hey, I played the new Baldur's Gate and it sucked, it was one of the worst games I ever played, I'd say Untouchable's bad. Like, that is like a measuring stick. Yeah. And if you said it's close or it's in the conversation, I'd be like, man, this is a shitty game.
Yeah, no.
But, like, because that's like, it'd be like, no, it's okay compared to Untouchables, you know. So I think Untouchables, it may be the worst game we ever that we play on here, Josh.
It could be. I mean, that was a terrible game.
I know if we play a game that is going to say it's in the conversation, I don't know. I might have to go back and play Untouchables to see.
Yeah, that was my thought too. If we play another game that's just as bad, I got to rerun it because I got to get the comparison. I have to.
We may have to do an episode of Untouchables versus it to give something that bad, you know. But I guess that's going to wrap us up. You got any predictions for? I mean, we're over halfway through the third season here. So, what do you have your prediction?
I'm gonna say some type of sports game. I think we gotta go something with Foreman for real. So I don't know if it's going to be boxing or what, but I mean, boxing is a sport.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna tell you, I was watching some YouTube video. I don't know if it's like Retro Rick or something like that, and I seen there was a Mega Man Soccer, like a legitimate miniature soccer ball, and I'm like, I want that until I seen the price of it. So I would still say Mega Man Soccer. I'm jonesing for it. Like, I'm seeing it everywhere. So I hope if we do get a sports game,
you want Mega Man Soccer.
I'm going to go ahead and say that we're going to get a game with Looney Tunes, not Tiny Toons. I think we're going to get one of the Roadrunner games. I just got a feeling.
Okay.
And I don't think I'm a fan of one of those games. But I'm going to say that we're going to have a game that has I guess if I say a Looney Tune in it, technically the Tiny Toons probably does have a Looney Tune in it. Like,
yeah, they probably got Buds, Daffy, Taz.
But we'll go with Looney Tunes for me, and you got sports, so I guess we're going to roll it and see what happens.
That's it.
See you.